IELTS Writing Task 1. You should spend about 20 minutes on this task. Write at least 150 words. The table below shows social and economic indicators for 4 countries in 1994, according to United Nations statistics. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. The table presents 4 social and economic indicators for Canada, Japan, Peru, and Zaire in 1994, based on United Nations statistics. These indicators include annual income per person, life expectancy at birth, daily calorie supply per person, and adult literacy rate. Japan recorded the highest annual income per person at $15,760 US, followed by Canada at $11,100 US. In contrast, Peru and Zaire had significantly lower incomes of $160 US and $130 US respectively. Life expectancy figures show a similar pattern, with Japan and Canada leading, while Peru and Zaire had much shorter averages of 51 and 47 years. Daily calorie supply per person was also highest in Canada and Japan compared to Peru and Zaire. Adult literacy rates were almost identical and high in Canada and Japan, but lower in Peru and particularly low in Zaire. Overall, Canada and Japan outperformed Peru and Zaire in all 4 indicators, highlighting a clear gap between developed and developing nations in both social and developing. IELTS Writing Task 1. Line Graph. The chart below illustrates the trends and changes in 3 types of crime: burglary, car theft, and robbery in the Newport city centre over the period from 2003 to 2012. The line chart illustrates the changes in the number of incidents for 3 types of crime: burglary, car theft, and robbery in Newport city centre from 2003 to 2012. In 2003, burglary was the most common crime, with around 3,400 incidents. It peaked at approximately 3,800 in 2004, before steadily declining to about 1,200 in 2008. After this, burglary rates stabilized, ending at roughly 1,400 incidents in 2012. Car theft began at around 2,800 incidents in 2003, showing a slight rise to nearly 2,900 in 2004. However, it fell to about 2,100 by 2006. From 2006 onwards, car theft rates fluctuated moderately, ultimately rising again to nearly 2,800 in 2012, making it the highest among the 3 crimes by the end of the period. Robbery had the lowest figures throughout, starting at around 700 in 2003 and peaking at about 900 in 2005. The rate then varied slightly, ending close to 800 in 2012. Overall, burglary experienced a significant decline. Car theft ended with a slight increase. IELTS Writing Task 1. The 2 pie charts. The charts below show changes in the proportion of energy produced from different resources in a country in 1985 and 2003. The 2 pie charts compare the proportions of energy generated from 6 different resources in a country in 1985 and 2003. In 1985, oil was the dominant energy source, accounting for 52% of total production. Coal contributed 22%, followed by natural gas at 13%. Nuclear power represented 8%, while hydro and other renewables made up only small shares at 4% and 1% respectively. By 2003, the share of oil had decreased significantly to 39%, although it remained the largest single source. Coal's proportion remained unchanged at 22%, but natural gas increased notably to 23%, nearly matching coal. Nuclear power also saw an increase to 8%, maintaining its share, while hydro stayed constant at 4%. Other renewables experienced substantial growth, rising from 1% to 4%. Overall, the data shows a diversification of energy sources between 1985 and 2003, with oil losing some dominance, natural gas and renewables gaining importance, and coal and nuclear maintaining relatively stable shares. IELTS Writing Task 1. The bar chart. The chart below shows the number of men and women in further education in Britain in 3 periods and whether they were studying full-time or part-time. The bar chart compares the number of men and women in Britain participating in further education during 3 academic years, 1970-71, 1980-81 and 1990-91, distinguishing between full-time and part-time study. In 1970-71, men dominated part-time education, with around 1 million participants compared to about 700,000 women. Full-time education numbers were much lower, at roughly 100,000 for men and 50,000 for women. By 1980-81, male part-time enrolment had fallen to about 850,000, while female participation increased slightly to around 800,000. Full-time study also grew for both genders, reaching approximately 150,000 for men and 200,000 for women. In 1990-91, the most notable change was in female part-time education, which rose sharply to about 1.1 million, surpassing men, whose numbers were around 900,000. Full-time enrolment reached similar levels for both sexes, at roughly 250,000. Overall, the data indicate a steady rise in female participation.